I'm Zoe Ringwood and I'm the Head of Conservation Evidence at Essex Wildlife Trust. Today we're in a very special place. We're at Langdon Nature Reserve, which is an Essex Wildlife Trust site, and it's part of the Langdon Ridge Site of Special Scientific Interest, so it's of national importance. So we're here in an amazing orchid meadow. We're here in March, so you can't see too much at the moment, but come May there will be thousands of green-winged orchids, which are really beautiful orchids. It will be a profusion of purple come May. We've lost 97% of our wildflower meadows since the 1930s, which is just such an incredible, devastating loss. So sites such as this meadow here at Langdon are really now quite rare. And of course, with the loss of wildflower meadows, not only do we lose the amazingly beautiful species like orchids, but we lose the insect species and a multitude of other wildlife that relies on that habitat. Orchids, first of all, they're incredibly beautiful plants and they've got a fascinating life history. So they need particular conditions. Each species needs a different type of condition. So they need particular soil conditions to grow. And something which is incredibly unique to orchids is they need particular fungi in the soil. And that's a fungi called mycorrhizal fungi. And they need this because their seeds, they're tiny, they're like little specks of dust. And these seeds haven't got any energy supplies of their own. So to germinate, they need to come in contact with the right species of mycorrhizal fungi for that species of orchid. So it's an incredibly fascinating relationship. We've got about 12 species of orchid on our Essex Wildlife Trust reserves, and they've got amazing names, some of them. They're species such as bee orchid, man orchid, butterfly orchid, early purple orchid. And at this site we're here today, I mentioned green-winged orchids. Also in June we'll have thousands of common spotted orchid, which is the most common orchid in Essex. And on this site as well we've got southern marsh orchid. This year at Essex Wildlife Trust we're having a focus on the conservation of orchids through our Blooming Wild Orchid appeal. And through this, we're going to survey our orchids across all of our nature reserves across Essex. And we're going to be counting how many orchids and the number of species of orchids that we've got. And this is really important because we're also going to map where they are, and then we will know where they are and we can focus our conservation actions accordingly to ensure that we get the conditions right for them to thrive. And we'll also be identifying any particular habitat restoration works that need to be done on our reserves for orchids. And this appeal will enable us to fund that amazingly important work. This year at Wild Orchid Appeal, there's several ways that you can support us. You can look on our website for details of how you can make a donation. You can adopt a wild orchid, or you can look out for our Big Give appeal, which is running from the 22nd to the 29th of April. That you give towards the conservation of wild orchids in that week will be doubled. So it will enable us to make even more money for this important orchid conservation work. And that you give. Viewing one of our orchid meadows is an amazing experience. They're absolutely beautiful. And so I would encourage you to come out to our reserves to view orchids. And they're at their peak during May and June. But orchids are very sensitive, and they're really sensitive to disturbance. So if you do come, I'd really encourage you to stick to the paths so that we don't trample these very special plants. The reserves where we've got wildflower meadows, the ones that are particularly accessible are Chafford Gorges and Langdon Nature Reserve in the south of Essex.